fella. Right on cue. On the work double nickel.
Alley-oop. Look at that. Ranger sets his feet and hits the three.
Yeah, there's a lot of options out there, and you know, at this stage, you're just talking to different teams. There's nothing. You know, you make offers, and people just start thinking about them, and sort of, you know, there's no anything in concrete right now, but we do have a lot of offers out there and different scenarios.
If something gets done, you get a sense that it would probably be a draft, something that happened.
Well, I always like to get things done, you know, but you never know. I mean, you can make a trade and not be able to announce it to July like we did a couple years ago, but you know, you just look at all your options, and we have some, and try to make the best deal. And by the way, your thing on Twitter wasn't correct.
I'm glad you're following me.
Somebody showed it to me this morning.
Where, if you do keep your pick at number 10, do you feel like you can get a player that can come in and help right away?
Well, it's according to who's there. There's some talent. There's no question about that. But obviously, we like to get someone that could step right in and play for us. But this is a strange draft. I mean, they're all over the board. There's some big guys there are pretty good. There's a few wings. Obviously, we're looking for point guards, and there's not a lot in the draft. So if we do get a point guard, it'd probably be a player, or it could possibly bear a pick. So there's a lot of things on the board that we're looking at.
How were you impressed by Hayward, if at all? How did that work out for him?
Hayward's a pretty good player. I mean, I don't think he's getting his due around the league. He could be taken anywhere. I hear it's 7, 8, all the way down to 18, but he's a very skilled player. You don't accomplish what that team accomplishes without a skilled player like himself. He can shoot the ball very well, very intelligent. Basketball IQ is very high, and he's a talent, and he's going to do well in this league.
When it comes to picking Larry, what is your philosophy on best available player on the board to need? Like you said, you need a point guard, but if there's a better available, what is your philosophy when it comes to that?
Well, if we can't get the point guard that we want up to the draft, you know, obviously after the draft we got expiring contracts, and we'll go after one. But I think you have to take the best player available, one that we think's the best, and take him, and no matter what position he is, and let the guys fight out for their playing time.
Has that always been your philosophy in previous years too? You just take the best guy that's available?
Well, I always like to take guys who can play multiple positions. Sometimes we have, and sometimes we haven't. But you know, it's unfortunate last year we didn't get to see Tyler play a lot, because if he's healthy and he's at the 4, we feel that with Josh coming on and Troy, we feel that we're pretty set in that area. But you know, it's an uncertainty right now about how Tyler's going to come back. I mean, he's doing well. He's doing a lot better. So we'll just take the best player available. Really doesn't matter what position it is. And you know, like I said, there's some bigs and there's some wings we think are going to be there.
What is the level of uncertainty you mentioned about Tyler? Because I guess he still hasn't been.
Well, he's working out, but you know, he hasn't played. You know, I mean, he's working out. He's doing a lot better, and all indications are he's going to be fine. But you know, if we still have plenty of time. I just haven't seen him play against other players on the court.
What do you see out of your second round picks at 40 and 57? I mean, are you looking that you can?
Yeah, we're going to get two good players there. I mean, everybody's trying to get our picks, and everybody's trying to move up in the second round or down to the second round. They feel there's going to be some players there that could possibly be just as good as the ones in the 20s.
You've also put a premium on college experience, guys that have been there 3 or 4 years. Does that deviate at all this year in the best player available formula, or does talent outweigh experience at this point?
Well, there's a lot of talent that's young, but you know, you obviously like to go with the most talented guy. But I like 3 or 4 year guys because they're more apt to come in and play right away. But it just depends on who's there.
There's been mixed reviews about this draft. How do you see this draft? Is it deep? I mean, what's your thought on it?
Well, I think there's 5 or 6 really good players. Then after that, there's some players that are going to end up better than them 5 or 6. But it's going to take time. It's like any draft. I mean, there's be a couple guys in the 20s, maybe 30s that end up being the best players in the draft. It happens a lot. But overall, I think it's a pretty deep draft. Some guys you have to wait on, but in a couple of years, they could be very good.
The fact that you've had Udo in twice, you'll have Orton in for a second look today, does that mean you're more interested, or you just want to take a longer look at those guys?
A longer look. With Udo, we had him against some skilled players, and we want to bring him back because we had a couple more guys coming in and just see how he matched up against some of the better ones. Obviously, we like him, or we wouldn't bring him back. We'd like to get some other guys in here a couple times, but with their schedules, it's very tight.
If you had a preference, would you prefer to keep your pick, or would you rather keep it? If you had,
Well, it's a tough question because it's according to who's there. If we knew our guy was going to be there at 10, we'd probably keep it. But if we could move it to get a player that we really wanted, we'd move it. Who's my guy? John Wall.
I think it'll be long.
How difficult, back to Hayward for a minute, with a guy being local, does that factor in positively or negatively as you evaluate him as a prospect for your team?
It really has no bearing. I just know he's a good player. I mean, he's got a lot of skill. A lot of people question a lot of things that he can't do, but as far as skill, I think he's got all the skill in the world. He's going to continue to get better. His basketball IQ is very high, and he's a player. He's a basketball player, and he's young, so I think he's going to do fine in this league.
Speaking of, there was another report that Minnesota offered you Flynn at 16 and 23.
No, we did call Minnesota, but it wasn't about our 10th pick. We've called a lot of teams. We call about every team in the league, if not every team in the league, about different things. But that was never on the table. Flynn for 10.
I know you've always talked about getting better. Is this one of the more aggressive years to get aggressive as far as talking to teams about trying to make moves?
Well, it is because we have expiring contracts. We have a lot of teams calling us, and we're in a situation where we don't have a lot of money to spend because we're up close to the tax. So you got to try to be creative and package maybe your second round pick with expiring or whatever, but just try to make the best deals you can.
There's been a lot of talk about the summer of 11 and having room there. Are you, the way that you're positioned now, are you more likely to want to wait until then to get into free agency, or are you more likely to use those assets that you have now in terms of the expiring contract?
Well, I want to win. Our team wants to win. We want to put a competitive team out there. So if the right deal comes up, we will probably move forward. But you just never know what's going to happen. But it's time to start winning here. We have some good pieces, and we're going to add to that this year, and we'll do whatever we can to put a competitive team out there to start winning ball games.
When you look at what Indiana, the state of Indiana has produced in the last 3 years, I think they've been sitting first round.
Yeah, I like to have them guys.
What is it that Indiana seems to do, whether it's the players or the coaches or the schools, what are they doing right?
We have good coaching in Indiana. There's no question in high school basketball that they develop these young men the way they're supposed to be developed, and it's paying off. You had it's unfortunate for Holden. He's been hurt, but he's a spectacular player that would be very dominating in our league if he's healthy. And then, with all the other guys coming out, that there's a lot of talent, and there's a lot more coming from what I hear. So Indiana has always produced great talent, and I think it'll continue to do that because of our coaches in their lower levels are doing a good job of teaching these kids the right way to play the game.
As far as talking to teams first, Trey, when teams call and ask, are there guys you just say, hey, I'm not giving up on this guy?
Yes. I know who you're talking about. Brandon Rush, probably Josh McRoberts. I see Josh, hopefully he'll get more playing time this year because I think he's starting to turn the corner. I think he's got a lot of talent, and he proved there at the end of the season last year that he needs an opportunity to play, and he's a skilled player, and he's getting better.
What is it about Brandon? He's shown signs that he can be good, and then other times it's like, you know.
I think most of it's confidence. You know, if he misses a couple shots early, he loses his confidence. And in this league and the way we play, missing shots is not the worst thing in the world. I know he's put in a great summer. Earl's got him, and they're working hard. And I look for great things. I just hate to give up on a young player too soon.
Speaking of Earl, what would you, I mean, do you just assume that is there any discussion with him? What is the status?
Well, you can't really discuss anything until after July, but he did a good job for us last year. Obviously, we're looking to improve that position, and but he's still a guy that we're looking at.
I think a lot of it hinge on what you're able to get accomplished in that position.
Yes, yes.
Larry, did you hear any comments that, or hear about any comments that Ron Artest made after the championship regarding this time here?
No.
He said he felt a coward when he sees some of the guys and quit on the franchise, and took time to be very apologetic. I wonder if you had any thoughts about him winning the championship.
No, we're happy for him. You know Ron. I know Ron. Everybody knows he's a good guy, and just unfortunately, the situation that happened at the Palace involved our team, or any team, as a matter of fact. But Ronnie's a good kid who works hard, and you know, you don't want to see guys leave here and do bad. You want them to do well, and Ronnie always craved a championship. He always talked about it, and he got with the best player in the league, and they won one. So I'm sure he's very excited. But he don't owe us anything. We moved on, and wish him all the best.
You talked about that you want to win now. You're ready to start. I mean, you always want to win, but you're ready to get more victories. Is that why you're more inclined to give up that pick?
Well, we're just trying to improve the team. You know, if we take a kid at 10, we had to wait a couple years. You know, it's the same old situation with everybody else we have. But you know, everyone going there last year, the contract, and we've been here for 2 years. We said it was a 3-year rebuilding process, and I still believe in that. Obviously, you'd like to have all the money that we're going to have during the lockout year, but we don't have it. So we're going to go out there and try to use this pick to get a good player, or move it to get a player that we think can help us next year.
How in-depth is the process of evaluating some of these guys off the court? Not only where they can go off the court, but personality-wise, if they're right fit for the locker room.
Yeah, we do a lot of work, a lot more than we used to do. But we're taking players that's been around the college game for a number of years, and it might not show up, you know, right away, but in the long run it'll show up, and it'll be a positive for not only the organization but for the community. So I think it's very important to get the guys that's not only going to fit in with your team but in the community. We have a lot of guys that spend a lot of time in our community and want to do more, which is a positive.
When you look at this, do you look at players that fit Jim's playing style, or you just want guys that can play the game?
Sometimes you want to go out and get, you know, a shooter or this or that, but overall, you got to look at the long term of the franchise and see which way that this thing is moving and how you want it to go. And overall, I think you just got to look out for what's the best interest of the franchise.